Hello everybody, my name is Kendra. Welcome back. It has been a while since I've been able to sit down and make a video for all of you. Now, if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And if you are returning, thanks for coming back. I guess a quick rundown because it has been a while, not just since I've posted, but since I've done one of these like sit down sort of videos. A little about me. My name is Kendra. I live on the Canadian prairies and I have 3 young kids who are 6, and then we have birthday month coming up. So the other 2 will be 4 and 1 next month. And I say that because I do have quite a few kids projects that I have made in the last little while to share with you. I love knitting and I've really gotten into cross stitch over the last year. And then I also do spinning and dyeing and sewing, and I've got a lot of things to share today. So really I want to kind of sit down and go through my projects. I've got quite a few finished items and then I've got a few projects on the go right now. And I thought we could just sit down and go through them together. So I would encourage you to grab a project, get working on something if you want to sit down and see what I have been making. Also, before we get into things, you can also find me over on Instagram as Kendra_makes. And I have recently relaunched my Etsy shop, which is Kendra Makes shop, where I have some hand-dyed roving and self-striping yarn. I haven't really gone into that here on my channel, mostly because of what's been going on in the world. I don't really want to push it too much since, you know, if you don't feel comfortable purchasing non-essentials right now, I absolutely understand. But if you're window shopping or want to see what I have been dyeing, then I will leave a link down below. I will maybe show you a few skeins of some of the things I've been dyeing at the end of the episode. But yeah, there'll be more information over on my Etsy shop if you want to see that for yourself. So in the last few months, I feel like I have come to this place where I either have time to do making or have time to do making videos. And I've been doing a lot of making and not a lot of making videos. I usually also try to kind of batch film a few videos so that I'm able to manage my time better, and I haven't got there lately, but I'm hoping to continue sharing what I can, and I'm really looking forward to sharing what I have been working on since I have gotten a lot done over the past few months. So let's get into some of my projects. So first things first, if you've watched all my videos, you've seen this first little section of hats, but I know sometimes it's easy to kind of skim over or pick and choose, so I'm just going to quickly go through them. Back during Vlogmas, I dyed some rainbow fiber and I knit that into this hooded Pixie. It's a pattern by Trude. It's a free pattern, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. This one is for my baby, and it's so nice in that it covers her face, it stays on, it can kind of tuck into her jacket and keep her really nice and warm, and she has worn it a ton this winter. So once I was finished knitting up this one here, my daughter, my 6-year-old, wanted one as well. And so I made one using Knit Picks Chroma, and I did a whole review on the Chroma yarn. So there is more information about that, but I thought I'd just show you the finished hooded Pixie here. And then also with the Chroma, my son did not want one of those hats. He wanted a neck warmer. So I made this one here in kind of more of a foresty green color. And another from a previous video is this hat where I dyed the yarn and then knit it together with some mohair. Again, from a video, I'm not going to get into it any more than that, but I thought I would show it off as a finished product as well. So last year I had plans to take part in the Spin and Make Along 2019, where the idea is that you spin fiber with a specific purpose and then you knit it up. However, my plans were kind of halted and I only recently finished my project, so I thought I'd share that with you. Now, I had originally dyed 4 yarns that I wanted to knit into a shawl. However, when I started knitting, I just really wasn't happy with how my shawl was looking, so I ripped it out and I have just re-knit it now. I ended up only using 3 of the skeins that I had spun up, but I'm still really happy with it. This top one here is the largest skein and I use quite a bit. I do have one end sticking out I need to weave in, but it's mostly done. The other ends are all woven in. I just skipped that one. So there's this top striped one. These are all chain plied, and the top one was a fractal spin, which I had never done before. And then I have this green color and pinks and purples on the bottom here. The wool is Peruvian Highland wool, and it's very warm and squishy. It's a little more rustic or scratchy than some of the merinos and things I've used, but I still am really happy with it, and this is the shawl that I ended up with, and I'm really glad that I feel like I kind of finished that project since I had spun the yarns for that purpose initially. Now, a few months ago, I realized that a lot of my hand knit socks were starting to wear thin. So probably a few years ago, around 3 years ago, I knit a lot of socks. I made some sock knitting videos, compared some yarns, and then a year ago, I realized they were getting pretty holey, so I did a lot of mending and repairs, and now those holes are starting to wear thin. So as, I guess, maybe another little piece to the puzzle is that I do like knitting socks, and I have a handful, but probably like a week's worth, so my socks do get a lot of wear, and I am walking mostly sock foot on hard floors most of the day. So I don't know, maybe I'm just heavy on my feet, but I have gone through and made a lot of holes in socks. So I do plan to kind of mend what I can, but at the same time I decided to start knitting some more just to kind of replenish my sock supply. And so I initially made this pair here. I didn't pull my blockers out, but this is made out of loops and thread yarn, which was recommended for me to try. It is a non-wool blend from what I recall. I don't have the tag here, but they were really fun. I feel like they're a little bit less elastic than some of the wool blends, but I still really like them. They feel nice on my feet. And I would definitely knit with this yarn again. Now, I also was thinking maybe I should just wait and do another sock review, since I have made quite a few pairs with different kinds of affordable commercial sock yarns, but I'm just going to share them with you now, and if that video comes, then I will share it. I also knit this pair here, and quite honestly, the other one is lost in the wash right now, but it is made out of the it is made out of the Lion brand sock yarn. It's another one, Mani Pedi, that I hadn't tried before. This is one 50-gram ball that I made 2 socks out of. You can see it's a lot shorter sock compared to the other pair. But it was really nice. I like these colors. I decided to do a pretty subtle pattern on the front, and then you can see how it goes on the back. Probably should have put these on blockers again, but you can see the idea. So that is another pair. Both socks are finished and I have been wearing them. This one is clean, but the other one is still missing. And I did knit some socks out of Knit Pick Stroll, since I have talked about I wasn't sure how they would wear in the past, but they have also recently been worn. So I won't show them with you to you today, but I did dye some stroll into self-striping and then knit them up as well. Now, also in January, I knit 2 baby sweaters. These were both knit out of Knit Picks, the acrylic blend. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Anyways, I knit these 2 and they have both been gifted, but I use the Tega Hiller designs in the Wee Peanut pattern, which is free in smaller sizes at least, and I've really enjoyed knitting this pattern like quite a few times for baby sweaters now. So I thought I would mention that those 2 projects did get done, but they have already gone on to be on some new babies. So I have knit a sweater for each of my kids in the past few months. If you follow me on Instagram, you have seen them already, and I still just kind of want to go through them quickly with you. First up is the Flax Light. I knit this for my almost 4-year-old son. I knit him a Flax Light sweater last year, and he really liked that sweater, but it has gotten too small, and I have tried to knit him one other one in that time, and he was not a fan of the yarn. And the fact it came up, it kind of touched his neck, and he didn't like it, and I ripped out the collar and tried to redo it, but it just did not end up getting anywhere. So I decided to make the exact sweater that he liked last time, which is again Flax Light by Tin Can Knits, and I knit it out of Knit Pick Stroll. Same yarns, I just did 2 shades of blue and striped it down for this one here. I think it looks so cute. It's casual, but it still looks nice. And he's worn it quite a lot, and yeah, I think it turned out really well. This one I did not do the garter panel on the sleeves, it's just straight all the way down. And it fits him really well. Really happy with that. I think the Flax Light and the Flax Sweater you just can't go wrong with, which is good because I made another flax, this time for the baby, out of the Knit Picks Chroma worsted, bulky Knit Picks Chroma twist, and it's considered bulky weight, but I knit the worsted version of the sweater and I think it worked just fine. I used 2 colors, the yellow and the pinkish are separate. I blended them in the middle and then did the contrast on the tops and the bottoms. I think this sweater is so cute too. It's a lot thicker obviously, than the light version, but it's a really nice winter sweater. She wears it to church all the time, or when we're going out, just as a nice layer. And I stuck a little tag on the back since it is helpful for getting it the right way. The last sweater for my kids is the sock arm sweater by Tellybean Knits. And I have been planning to make this sweater for ages. I think I mentioned it in a video like 2 years ago. But I had initially knit or dyed this self-striping yarn using food dyes. And I have a whole video about dyeing self-striping yarn using household supplies. And that's where I made this yarn initially. And I had plans to do a sweater like this, and it only really came to be this year. But the main color, or the main body, is knit out of loops and thread yarn. I think it's the rose color. I have a sweater out of this, and this is a ball I had left over, so I knit it up for my 6-year-old. It's just solid in the body with the striped arms. Yeah, it was really fun to knit. I would like to knit this one again. It's such a nice way to use self-striping yarn that's in a way that's not just socks. They have an adult version as well as other kid sizes, and I think it would be, you know, really versatile. There's lots of different ways you could do this. And they also have the same sweater in a worsted weight if you have worsted weight self-striping yarns, which I don't have, but just as an option. Now, since I was knitting with that self-striping, I decided to use up the rest of my ball by making a few pairs of socks. So first up, I made a pair for my 6-year-old, and these ones here, and I had a little bit left, so I made a pair for the baby, toddler size, I guess. They're a little big on her as well. So I have 2 more little stripy socks here. Very simple, just a toe up sock with a fish lips kiss heel. I didn't really use a pattern. I just tried to pick a size cast on that seemed like it would fit okay. And then with my daughters here, I did put some ribbing in it just to try to hug her foot a little bit better. So I am jumping around a little. I do have some knitting on the go that I'm going to share with you in a bit, but I thought I'd share with you the cross stitch that I have finished as well. Now, I have been working on a big cross stitch piece, but it is going to be a gift, so I'm not going to give you any details or share the picture of it yet, but that has taken up quite a lot of my making time lately. But I did also work on this one here, which is from some sort of cross stitch magazine. I'm not even sure which one. It's a handout. I picked it up on Etsy. I've kind of been eyeing it for a while, and then finally just decided, oh, I'm gonna really regret it if it sells. So I got it here with the verse Psalm 127:3, which says at the bottom, if you can't read it, "Behold, children are a gift from the Lord." I really like this. I like how it's nice and flowy and soft. I feel like even though I think the baby's wrapped in a blanket, it could be like a wrap, and I love, you know, baby wearing and that sort of thing too. So this is my finished stitch. Now, I picked up this linen from an Etsy shop as well. It was super inexpensive. It was a really good deal, and I got a larger piece than was advertised too. It was, let's see, 28 count Joblin linen, I believe it's called. And I stitched, most of it's 2/2, so these larger stitches around the outside of her hair and the blanket and stuff, and then the faces, the skin is all stitched 1/1, so it's a little bit more delicate. And I did not purchase the right colors for this. I basically used what I had in colors that seemed to work, and I'm happy with it. I think it was a good way to kind of use what I had, and I do like how it works. You can see it's pretty, there's a higher contrast with that main color of purple, and I did have to rip out and re-stitch quite a few sections if I wasn't happy with the color, but overall I'm really happy with the finished piece. You'll also notice I did not stitch the candles, and there's like smoke going over top, which at first I thought I was going to, but I don't know. When I got to this point, I just really liked it as it was and decided to keep it like this. I also stitched a little Mill Hill kit called Snow Globe, and there's a whole set of little snow globe ornaments. This is the Santa, or the snowman one, sorry. Mill Hill kits are great. They've come with all of the threads and beads that you need. And it's stitched on perforated paper, which I've never used before. But this is the finished ornament. You can see it's, maybe you can't see, it's very shimmery with all those beads. There's beads all around. They're supposed to look like snow, as well as just accents for the snowman himself. I'm really happy with this. I had a lot of fun making it, and I would really like to make another one or two. This one might not stay with me. It might be gifted, but I would like to get maybe even more from this series. I don't know if you can see on the back here, but there's an angel and a Santa and some other characters in a snow globe as well. Now, the last thing that I have finished is a sewing project. And it is from this See and Sew Butterick, I think it is. I guess it doesn't say that, but I purchased it from the Butterick website, or the McCall's, you know, they're all kind of combined. Over a year ago, they had a 99-cent sale, so I picked up a few, and I finally got some fabric for this at the end of the summer, I think it was, and I just have not been sewing, but I finished it. It's kind of this chambray sort of design. And then right on the edge of the fabric, which I put on the sleeves as well as along the hem, there's this more intricate fabric. It kind of looks like stitches, I think. And then it ties at the waist. And anyways, I think it turned out pretty well. The only disappointing thing is it's a little bit tight on the shoulders, which kind of sucks, but I think it's still wearable. I have been wearing it, but I don't know, I am just a little bit disappointed that it didn't fit exactly the way I wanted it to. And I think that was an error in cutting out my pattern pieces rather than anything else, but oh well, it is a lesson learned for sure. So moving right along, I do have some yarn to show you. I have some upcoming projects, but I want to show you my current knitting work in progress. Also, it is in this little bag I made. I snow dyed 2 different kinds of fabric. This one here, which I made into this bag, and it's got a really cute print, just a leftover scrap I had on the inside. And I have some more fabric that I am planning on making some project bags for my Etsy shop as well, but they're not up there yet. Anyways, this pattern is called Linger here. It is also by Tellybean Knits. It was released fairly recently, and when I saw it, I don't know what it was that I really liked about it, but I just knew I wanted to make it. So this is the Linger here sweater, and I am knitting it out of Knit Picks Stroll Fingering, which is going to be held double. So this wool is the 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and it is in the color mint. I just joined in the round under the sweaters. The front and back yoke are knit separately and then joined together. So I still have the rest of the body and then the sleeves to finish. You can see the cabling has just started. I haven't even done a full chart repeat yet, but it's very simple and easy to memorize and to work on, which is nice. And it's quite bunched up here, like with the ribbing on the sleeves, but at least in the pictures, it seems like it stretches out a lot once the sleeves are attached, and it is meant to be quite oversized. I did add positive ease, but not nearly what the pattern recommends. So we'll see how it fits at that point. So I do have one new piece of equipment to show with you, and this was one that my husband made for me, and I'm really happy with it. So in the last few videos, I think I have mentioned when I've been working on different items that my umbrella swift is broken and it's just malfunctioning. Some of the wood pieces are totally broken and it's just not usable anymore. So I decided at first I was going to buy an Amish style swift, which is flat and sits on the tabletop. And then my husband suggested he could make me one. So this is what we ended up with. It's made out of maple and it's very heavy, hefty. It has these dowels so you can adjust depending on the size of your skein. And then it spins, so as you're winding it up or unwinding it, this sits flat on the tabletop and you spin around this cross section here. So I'm really happy to have this because it's hard when you have skeins of yarn that and you don't have anywhere to put them. So I do still receive some of the knit crates that come. I've been very fortunate that they have offered to send me some, whether that's the sock crate or sometimes the regular crate. And so I thought I'd just show you a few of the yarns that I have gotten from there in the last few months. So Knit Crate is a subscription box where you have a certain price point that you pay every month and then they send you a box of yarn. And I do have an affiliate link if you are interested in checking them out, but don't feel you have to use it. These two skeins came together in January, I think it was. They are my favorite ones. Blues and purples are right up my alley. But I really like how these are. And this was a collaboration with Brooklyn Boy Knits. I believe he dyed these or had the inspiration for them. And it's their Knitology line worsted, which is 100% superwash merino. So I have those ones. I also have these two skeins, which are the colorway Beta, and this one is a superwash merino silk alpaca blend. It's a really deep, plummy sort of color, and it's so drapey, you can tell with the alpaca compared to just the merino. Like you can see they're just kind of flopping over. And then most recently is this one here, which is the luxury sock Audine wool. And the colorway is Peat, and it's a really neat sort of purple toned brown that will be really fun to knit with as well. I do have one more kind of yarn to show you, and that is this one here, which is Sock Twins by Estelle. Now we have a new yarn shop, well, it's a quilting shop that has some yarn that has opened up near me, and I picked this up just, you know, mostly for support, but I hadn't seen it before and thought it would be fun to try out. I think I'm going to knit these 2 at a time since they look so perfect for that. Let's see what the color is. Oh, it just says color number 1. But yeah, it feels a little bit more woolly than one of the really smooth ones. The blend is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I look forward to knitting these ones here up. So as I mentioned, I do have some yarn that I have put up in my Etsy shop, and so I thought I'd show you a few of the colors. And for these self-striping ones, I do have them in ball form as well as in the skein, so you can kind of choose at checkout which you prefer. But this one here is called Harvest. I have this mini eggs. And then with the balls, I have already put them up in their bags because I just want to kind of minimize the amount I'm touching them. But I have this one, which is Sour. Here is Sunset. This is Shock. We have Bluesy. This is a 50 gram of New Day. Then for the roving, these I have both superwash merino as well as superwash VFL. And this here is Harvest on the roving. Deep Feelings. Here's the mini eggs on the roving. So I have been working on dyeing new colors and getting them listed if you want to check them out. Or if you're just window shopping at this time, I would still appreciate it if you wanted to check it out or favorite my shop so you can see when I have new items listed as well. Otherwise, that is all I have to share with you today. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll do my best to link what I can in the description box, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!